メナだ。またいいのぶなだ。
遅くにいらしても温かいコーヒー。たまには一息ついて力を蓄えること。
勝ったら
あなた様
何かお困りです。私は
姉弟子参上です。
戦場と台所、どっちにお呼びだ？
時間の無駄です。この気を逃さず。さあ、はっきゃっはっやっへっえい受けて立つ。はっすい追撃します。やっ耐えてみせる。へっやっさあえっはっすいはっせい攻撃復興。見切った。はっはっやっさあ無意味なあがきです。はっ望むところだ。刀はのう鞘だ。ちれややや時間の無駄です。この気を逃さず。終わりだ。
私を
あなた様の
番号1。私はいつ私
人は強し、飯はうまし。もつ炒めでもどうだ？ 人は強し、飯はうまし。もつ炒めでもどうだ？
Okay, let's do this. Did my dailies? Have to actually start this quest. This is the last character quest I have to do. I've done every other one. It's the only one I have not done. So that'd be nice if we finally caught up. Basically, like, I started the game when it first released, but it was kind of rough in the early stages. So I was like, you know what, I'm just not super into this. It's just kind of annoying to do, especially at low levels, especially when like the limited characters or so didn't really like help. So I think I stopped playing for like a month or two, and then like when Jane Doe was announced, I'm like, oh, she looks pretty hot. Let's give her a shot. And then her playstyle was definitely, because like at the time it was only Ellen, and Ellen was fine, but it was just like it was really difficult to get a good party comp for her, because like her ideal party comp was Lycon, Sokaku, and Ellen, but Lycon was, 5-star. So what are the odds you're actually going to get a 5-star, right? I didn't lose my 50-50 and get him. And I think for the beginner banner one, we were guaranteed to get a standard banner 5-star. I think I got Grace, so this wasn't super helpful. So it was like I didn't have Lycon. I had Sokaku, so I was like, okay, cool, I can have Sokaku and Ellen. But the problem is that both party members were kind of shit to go around, because there weren't that many ice characters. I think they were the only ones. So like to get a full party that had all their like buffs activated, you needed to either be ice, you needed to be another ice element, or shared the same faction as Sokaku or Ellen. And the problem is Sokaku didn't have any other characters that shared her faction. In fact, like it was only, Yanagi, Miyabi, and Haramasa, who like were many months away. So like you just there was no way to pair anyone with Sokaku for like the first 4 months of the game or something like that. So it's like you had to pair with Ellen. And Ellen was also kind of tough to work around, because there was only one other character that shared the same faction, which is Corinne. Well, technically two. There were a total of 4 people that could share. Well, there are 4 people in that faction. Ellen's one of them. So 3 other people that could share that faction. But 2 of those 3 were 5-stars. It was Rena and Lycon. So you had to get them from the standard banner. So it's like, well, fuck, that's not helping. That's not super helpful when you're starting to play the game. You obviously don't have, a shitload of 5-stars. And the free 5-star they give you Well, that I got, really, not they give you. The 3-star I got was Grace, which wasn't the right faction. So, it was just rough. Now, to be fair, with Sokaku and Ellen, both of them get that buff, you know, so that would have been fine. Like, the buffs work on an individual level, so as long as, you know, Sokaku and Ellen were the drivers of that team, so they at least got their buffs. But, you know, it does go to show you that, like, Ellen clearly wasn't super strong because they even had to buff her after the fact. Like, that's super, super rare for games to do that. You know? Because usually, you know, there's, like, power creep, but games won't be like, oh, well, because there's power creep, we're going to go back and change them to make other ones stronger. So the fact that they did just goes to show how much either A, how much power creep there was, or B, just how poorly designed the character was, combat-wise. And they at least were able to test her out with the Hall of Zero buffs, because they basically just gave her one of the Hall of Zero buffs, and they're like, okay, you know what? The buff you get from having this equipment, we'll just give that to Ellen as her base kit, which is definitely an improvement. And she definitely does feel better to play now. So it's like, okay, cool, that's good. But yeah, it was just rough in the beginning. And so it was like, even though I had the limited 5-star character, I just wasn't having a super fun time. It wasn't super easy. Like, Sokaku was kind of weird. And then, like, having Corinne just really wasn't great because it was like 2 attackers and a support. You know, so it's like there wasn't a great synergy there. And realistically, I should have just, like, chosen another character instead of Corinne and just didn't have that. And that third character just wouldn't have had the buff. But the problem is, like, the only other characters you could have or you would want would be like Andy for the stun. But I hate Andy's playstyle. I really do not like it. So it's like I didn't have a stun character. I didn't have a support character that was super awesome. So it was like it didn't feel fun to play, especially when you're in the early game. There's so much like TV exploration and combat and stuff, and the TV exploration was kind of tedious. Combat was fine, but it was still like, you know, it was rough. And so I was like, you know what, fuck this. This is just kind of boring to me. The story wasn't super interesting. They hadn't really gone much further than they had in the demo. Like, the demo had the prologue, so I was already familiar with that. I think the demo might have had Coletta's story as well, but Coletta's story wasn't, like, super interesting. It was kind of interesting. I was like, okay, that's fine. But it wasn't, like, super compelling, and then it just ended there. So it was like, oh, okay. Like, the prologue was whatever. Like, prologue was fine for as an introduction. Coletta's story was fine. But it wasn't, like, super compelling. Combined with, like, the tediousness of combat and TV exploration, I was just like, meh. So I just stopped for a few months. And then all the hype around Jane popped up, so I'm like, okay, let's head back, see how she is. And then I got, like, Xingqi, or Xingyi. So I got to, like, Xingyi, who was a much better stunner. So now I've actually had a proper stunner that really worked well. And felt a lot better to play. Because when she's doing her little constant lightning on the ground thing, it does stun it does, like, interrupt weaker enemies. It doesn't work on the big enemies, but you do have some level of stun resistance. And usually you don't even need to keep it going for that long before her gauge is filled, and you can then start her super attack, or super stun combo, which gives you some level of knockback resistance. So I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, it worked. Nowadays, she wouldn't be amazing because there are just so many enemies that are really fucking tanky or do a lot of attacks at once. Like, she's a little vulnerable when she's in that state. So if you have an enemy who just shrugs it off and then just continues doing a lot of heavy attacks, you can get screwed really quickly. So she's not great for that, like, but she was good at the time. And she still is good in certain situations. And she was a good stunner. You know, she applied stun. So finally I had a character that could actually stun characters that I liked better than Anby, which is, you know, a low bar anyway. And then Jane came out, and Jane was so ridiculously powerful. And then paired well with Xingyi, because, you know, they're the same faction. So it was like, oh, okay, cool. And so, yeah, I worked with that. And then, like, once I had, and I like Jane's play style a lot too. So not only was she hot, but she was also, she played very well, and I liked how she played. So it was fun to play as her, and have her be the main attacker and all that shit. So it's like, okay, cool. And then, combat was more enjoyable. TV exploration was still just as tedious, but they kind of, over the next few months, they just kind of started phasing that out and realizing, you know what, people just don't like that as much. And so they kind of just decided to do. And yeah, that was the other thing too, like Hollow Zero too. It was TV exploration in the main story, which is boring. And TV exploration Hollow Zero was just so tedious. It just took so long. It was just like, yeah, you want to do a Hollow Zero thing? Okay, well, that'll take you 30 minutes. And you have to do 2 of them a week. It's like, oh, great. So you have to do 2 tedious 30-minute runs through the television for a challenge, for a challenging combat at the end, which is, yeah, not super fun. But they definitely reworked it. And so, like, the new Hollow Zero is much more enjoyable to play, much faster to do. The fact that you only have to do it once a week is important. I think for grindy shit like that, you shouldn't make it super repetitive. It's like, if you want to do it again, it's fine, right? If you want to grind those levels, like if you want to grind the levels for the to get the max rewards, you can get the rank and stuff. You can do it again, but you only need to do it once a week to get the maximum rewards for that week. For the weekly rewards, you just need to do it once, which is great. And if you want to grind it, you have to do it at the base reward. So it's like, you can do it once and get 8,000 points, and then every subsequent run is only 4,000. So it's like, that first run just gives you double points, and that's perfect. Just do that, If I want to do it, it's like one 30-minute thing, and like it also feels faster, but I think it's about the same. It just feels like it goes by quicker too, because it's like mostly involving in combat, and that's what, like, the Withered Zone too. I realized that there was actually a blitz mode, so I don't have to go through all the televisions anymore. If I just switch to blitz mode, which I guess I would have unlocked if I had done normal Withered Garden with a certain number of debuffs on a certain level of ether activity, I guess unlocks blitz mode, and blitz mode is just super quick. You're just like, oh, okay, it's very, very much like the new Hollow Zero, the Lost Void one, where it's just like, okay, it's you're not going through nodes, so you don't get to decide your path, but it is like, oh, we've just randomized it. You have to do like 2 or 3 enemy fights. I think it's like you fight 3. You go through 3 zones where you have to fight 3 times, and then you fight a boss, and then it's to the next floor, and it's just basically that over and over again. You're just like, okay, fight 3 swarm, go through 3 rooms, fight 3 sets of random mobs, fight a boss. That's floor 1 complete. Do the same for floor 2, and then floor 3. I can't remember if floor 3 is just directly fighting Nineveh, or if you have to do a few more swarms of random mobs leading up to her room. I think it's just her directly. Either way, it's like it's very quick. So like if you want to go back and do it, it's much better. But even still, like, I don't know if, and that's the thing, is even after I came back, I just did not do Hollow Zero at all. I was just like, you know what, this is fucking boring. Like, even when I got Jane, I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna come back. I don't want to do Hollow Zero in its old form. Just because how time consuming it was, and it feels like shit when you have to do the same thing twice. It feels like shit when you're like, okay, I did this like tedious thing I don't particularly enjoy. And then it's like, cool, you've done it? Okay, well, that's half the rewards you can gain for the week. So you feel compelled to do it again to get the full rewards. And I'm just like, it's not super fun. And then it's just even more tedious to have to do it 2 times again. Now, like, there was some variety where I was like, oh, well, actually, you don't need to do it 2 times. Like you don't need to do the same thing 2 times, because it was like, oh, there's 3 nodes on either side. Each have a different boss at the end. But the problem is you couldn't actually like get full half points from those. For those 3 little nodes, the max points you could get is 3,500, and the max points you could get for the week were 8,000. So if you did any of the 3 little nodes around, circled around the center, if you did it twice, it's only 7,000 points, so you're missing 1,000. So what you'd have to do is you have to do one of those 3 smaller nodes for 3,500, and then put a buff on the Withered Garden in the center. Put one, because like the Withered Garden by default would give you 4,000 points. So ideally, the idea is that you just do Withered Garden twice. But you could also do one of the 3 smaller nodes, and then do Withered Garden with a buff, with just one buff. So that with the 3 nodes, would give you 3,500, and with a single Ether activity buff, you get 4,500 points. So the 2 together combined to be 8,000. Either way, but still, it was just so tedious to do. And so I didn't do Hollow Zero for the longest time after coming back. And then I think only after they swapped to the new version, I tried it out. I'm like, oh, this is actually a lot more fun and faster. And the fact that I only have to do it once makes me actually want to do it. Because it's like, hey, no matter how tedious it is, you're just doing it once, right? It's like, oh yeah, I can do it once. And definitely it is pretty fun. Like the way they've randomized the randomized buffs. I mean, it was randomized and had randomized buffs for the previous version, but it was just so tedious to do it all with through the televisions. And so now it's just, you don't have to deal with the television bullshit. It's just like, hey, here are the nodes, decide your path, select your rewards, do your combat, fight the boss, move on. It's like bam, 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 done, 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 done. Whereas televisions, it's like, okay, go to the television, collect this, do all this extra shit. Maybe sometimes you fight if you decide. Sometimes you can't decide. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, both paths have a fight, so it's like, okay, whatever. But like, yeah, I just go through, do your thing, and then, yeah. So it's like, it's whatever. So it was just tedious. Honestly, it was just tedious. Like it was fine for the most part, but it's just like, especially when you have the new version of it, you're just, wow, that was really tedious. So I mean, now that I've done Lighter, like once I finish Lighter, I'll have caught up. So basically, all the stuff I missed when in those 2 months, and then all the stuff I missed because I was catching up to all the stuff I missed. Because like when I left, I wasn't max level. You know, I wasn't max proxy rank. My characters weren't max level. Like max level in this game is 60. I didn't have any characters at 60. I think they were 40 or 50 or something like that. I forget how far I'd gotten. So it's like I still had a lot to do when I came back. I'm like, oh cool, I'm back. Now it's, it's do all the quests I've missed. Like do the story I've missed. Do the random quests that came out each patch. Do the current events, all that stuff. So there was a lot to catch up on. Like there was 2 months of quests that I just flat out missed. And like the story progression, it's like, yeah, the story's progressed an extra chapter, a few extra chapters, so it's like catch up to that first, then do all the side quests, then while at the same time doing all the weekly content. Although I mean, I was not just flat out not doing Hollow Zero at that point, so I was like, so yeah. But now I'm finally at the point where I'm just like, yeah, cool. I've done most of the side quests. I know I'm still missing some side quests, but I've done all the ones I can see. Like, my quest log is completely clear, but based on when I'm going into the HDD and looking at, like, the number of points per chapter you can earn, I know I'm missing some, but I have no fucking clue how I'm missing them. And I do know that there was, like, definitely some instances where, like, I did a character quest where I could have sworn a new quest just appeared on the map. So I'm thinking it's something like that. But then I was like, oh, well, if it's going to be like that, then I'll just put a pin in it. Oh. Oh, yeah, this wasn't here. Yeah. This is normally this truck is not here. Okay. Yeah, this is where Bernice sung. I didn't realize it was part of a truck. I didn't really notice that from the music video. But yeah, so just basically bit by bit, finally over time, and then of course I wasn't really super focusing on the character quest as well. I kind of put this game on the back burner for a little bit too. I was just doing the current events and that's it. I wasn't really focusing on trying to do the old stuff. But then I don't know, like with the new patch, with the new 2.0 patch, I guess it kind of sparks my interest again. So that I'm just going through and be like, you know what, I haven't even done these character quests in the longest time. Let me work on those while I work out. While I walk on my treadmill, let's try to get these quests done. So, for the past few weeks, I've been putting a lot more time into doing these quests as part of my workout. Although honestly, it's mostly because there's not really much to do in Genshin. I guess they did introduce a new event, but they had the whole Stygian thing. I'm just like, I don't really want to do that. Also, it's for challenging combat, it's super fun to do it while walking because we just get so distracted. So that's why I kind of like character quests. But I've done all the character quests in Genshin. So anyway, so I was caught up with this. I do know I'm still missing some side quests. So basically, after doing this quest, once I've completed it, then I'll know how many quests I actually need to do. Because I know that, obviously, this first quest is just purely cutscenes. The next two could be combat. But I'm missing more than 2 combats worth of points from other chapters, according to the HDD logs. According to the HDD, which tells you how many, the max number of points you can get from story and combat missions, I'm missing a bunch. I'm missing at least 5 or 6. And so even if 2 of them can come from this quest, I'm still missing 4 or so. So it's there has to be some other quests out there. But I'm not even sure how they appear, right? So it could be something it could be that I just need to go through and actually check. I have to go through and actually go through each zone, and it might even be time-based too. So I'll probably set it to midnight, go through the map on each zone, just to see are there any new quests, any new NPCs that have a quest for me. Then switch to morning, do the same thing again.
じゃ
確かに血統
猫好きにとって猫は家族だからな。事故とはだから血統は成立だ。ああ、そういえば。
I mean, that's dumb though. It's oh, the cats are like family. It's you miss the cute moments. They're cats. There's shitloads of cute moments, and cats are always going to be the same. I understand if you have a child, right? Because it's oh, they had a cute moment as a child, but they're going to continuously grow up, and so you're only going to have a certain moment, select moment of time where you can get those kind of cute moments. So it's yeah, I get why you might care more about a child, but it also is kind of weird because a cat is like, you have like, once they've grown into an adult cat, or I mean, this was a kitten perhaps, but like the amount of time between a kitten grows up into a cat is pretty small. So like most of the time you're usually working with an actual cat who's just going to be cute their entire lifetime. So you have like loads of moments to do that. Like for children, for like young child, you have like 5 years maybe before they're more adults and they're less cute or do less cute moments. Whereas for a cat, you have like 10 years of cuteness. And like you could argue, well, no, like children are still cute up until 10 as well, but like I don't know, they just don't have as many super cute moments like babies do. You know? I mean, obviously it depends on the child and the baby, but I don't know. It's obvious. I mean, this is obviously stupid, but I mean, they are pretty silly. There's a lot of these quests that are pretty silly, like the Bang Boo one with Xingyi was also pretty silly. Bernice's one was definitely really silly. So it's like, you know, it's fine. And that's why, like, the game definitely did get better. But, like, I would say, like, honestly, of everything in the game, I'd say the story is the main story is kind of like the weaker part of it. Like, it's not bad per se, and it's definitely gotten better over time. But like the early story was kind of boring, you know. Like the prologue was a fine prologue, but like not super compelling because it's like, hey, these guys have a safe, they've hired you to help, but it's like, okay, but we don't know these characters, and yet we're expected to like care about them. And like they're fine characters, they're funny and silly, and you know, it's fine. But you know, it wasn't. I guess, and honestly, the tediousness of television, tedious of having to do all the television shit for the main story was also kind of like definitely like brought down the excitement, right? You know, because it's like, oh hey, I'm doing the story, and it's like cool, I'm getting hyped, story's progressing, and then it's like, oh, go in the television and navigate the television, do this puzzle in the television, and it's like hype draining, you know. So like it definitely lowers your excitement levels. If you're like getting hyped up by the story, the television exploration definitely drags it down because you can't skip the dialogue in the thing, which means after you've read something, you have to wait for them to be like, okay, this is like we've given enough time for even the slow readers to have caught up to the sentence. So it's like you end up waiting like 2 to 3 times longer than it takes you to read the sentence for them to continue with the next sentence. So it just really drags things on. And when you're trying to do a story, it just kind of ruins the momentum of it. And so it's hard to even like take out that part because like that was just so intrinsic to the actual story. Like you can't just like remove it like because shit happened within the television that complemented the story. So it's like you can't just like extract it and be like, cool, we're just not going to do that. I mean, you could. You have to completely redesign the story though, which I don't think they're going to do. So it's just like, yeah, it definitely ruined the momentum of the first 3 chapters. Like having to do the prologue and then the twin ballet. The twins were fucking annoying too. So it's like it's annoying combat, but then also after all this tediousness, they like ruin it. So it's like. So prologue, chapter 1 and 2 were fine, and I guess if you just extracted the story bits from them and didn't have all that television bullshit, it would be fine. But the television really ruined it. They just drag on so long, and it just ruins the momentum of the story. And it's so much so where I can't even like imagine what it would be like without it, because it's just like you were just forced to do it. You were just forced to deal with it. And it was just so, yeah. So definitely now, like once they got rid of that, there was like, you know what? Let's stop doing this shit. You know, let's just have you go through like cutscenes and combat, or just going into a holo directly. Like mostly Because like the television exploration would mostly be done through story quests, but now they're just like, you know what, fuck it, let's just do all combat quests. Because like the story quests were the ones that could have you go into the television and navigate through the television, and combat was like you go into a 3D environment, navigating through a small 3D map to like to you know, gather and collect stuff, and you know, once you got to rooms that were big enough, fight swarms of enemies, you know. And they basically just kind of said, you know what, fuck story quests, so we're just gonna do everything via combat quests. Or like in the 2.0 thing, where they're just gonna have this huge map, and they're just like, okay, cool, our quests are gonna have you take you through this huge map. So we'll see if that's how it's gonna be. We're obviously getting a new patch later today or tomorrow, so we'll see if the 2.0 map is just gonna be how it is, you know, because that could be it now. It could just be like, oh hey, you're gonna have this 2.0 map, like this huge map. We're gonna do that. Like all quests going forward are going to be like this, where it's like, yeah, we're just going to introduce a new big 3D map where the story will take place in, and you have to just explore it. Hard to say, obviously, we don't know, because like 2.0 was the first time, well, not really the first time, technically, Miyabi and Melon Row Labyrinth or whatever had a similar thing, where it was taking you to a huge 3D map, and then you did quests within it. But it was like a one-off event type thing, so this is the first time they've actually like incorporated that into the main story. So we'll see if that's just going to be what they're going to do from now on, or if they're going to try to do a mix of big explorable maps and miniature television combat style maps. We shall see.
過去にはもうケリをつけた。今の俺は。
Oops, I was paying attention. Oh, underground. Yeah, you participated in underground fighting pits. That's dirty money. Like, how's it dirty money? Like, he fought. Like, it'd be dirty money if he, like, rigged fights, sure. Like, it'd be one thing if he, like, rigged fights, but if it's, like even if, like, the money being used is dirty, it's like he won it in a fight. Like, it's, like, it doesn't matter if the money used to belong to a drug dealer or a criminal. Like, he won it through a legit way. I mean, you could argue how legitimate is it in an underground fighting pit. Like, the fighting pit itself is also probably illegal. I don't even know if it's like illegal though. Like for those type of things, is the fighting pit itself illegal, or is it just the fact that they're betting on it? Is it the fact that they're doing this in a? Because I thought the whole point is that the reason why it's illegal is because they're betting, and betting is illegal, or betting in this fashion is illegal, so they keep it hidden. But it's like, you know, it's a fight, right? Like we have fights, we have MMA fights. Like, I mean, I guess maybe there are regulations for a fight. Like even MMA fights have rules and stuff. So I guess you could argue that it's an unregulated fight. It's not following the normal fighting regulations, which then make it an illegal competition because they're not upholding the law according to competitions like that. So weird. Strutting around with a red scarf. What's with the... Like, why even mention the red scarf? With strutting around with that red scarf. Acting all cool like a big... Like, I'm sorry, but when did scarf equal cool?
「あんたが新たな覇者を認めないなら信用の証にも価値はない」3日 さて次に挑戦。
Oh, the sun's about to set. It's like, you just took out your sunglasses. Like, if the sun's about to set, then you don't really need them. Obviously, yes, a rule of cool.
本当に最後まで見てたのか。
もちろんくじを買って。
それで約束は果たしたからな。
もちろんライトさんを信じてたよ。
あんたのために勝ち取ったんだ。
じゃあライト。
俺はちょいと先にバーに控えてこいよ。
I really wish they'd explain what nitro fuel is. Like, it obviously seems to be a real drink, right? But then they also kind of use it synonymously with actual fuel. But, like, Bernice obviously loves nitro fuel. And I'm kind of guessing she made it, like it's her own creation. But then she also says, like, oh yeah, she, in her own character quest, when Piper bought an engine that was too fuel inefficient, Bernice was like, oh, well, I redesigned our fuel so that it would be, so it could kind of mitigate the fuel consumption. I made more effective fuel so you wouldn't need as much. So it's like, I don't know, is she just a chemist? And that's why she can apply her knowledge of chemistry in both actual fuel and this beverage nitro fuel? Or is nitro fuel in and of itself basically like gasoline that cars can also drink? You know? It's hard to tell. They never really like explain what the fuck it is. It's also weird too, which is like we're getting it from you. You're basically paying us to not give us nitro fuel. It's like, I could get a bunch of nitro fuel for free, and you're just like, well, yeah, you could, but I'm just going to give you money so you don't. I'm like, what? Like, fine, sure, but like, why would you do that? I wonder if they're actually going to ever show Did they ever show Big Daddy in game? Like, I know we've seen him in cutscenes, so we've seen he's just like a big boar type Siren. Basically the adult version of Lucy's little pigs. I assume those will grow up to be that big. But I don't know if we've ever actually seen him in game, like an actual 3D character model. I don't know if we've seen him outside of cutscenes. Aw. Wait, why was it 5? Shouldn't I have... Wait, did they give me 5 or did they just take those 5 away? Because like, I had 5, but wasn't I betting them? So shouldn't I have had... Did I still have them? No, I don't. So they removed those 5 and gave me 5,000 Denny's for them. But it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, those 5 were what I bought, but I bet them. So I should have, like, a ton, right? Like, he won every single fight, and I bet every single... Even if he was the favored person, I should have at least had, like, 100 by this point. If he continued doing shitloads of fights. It's like, if it was a one... Like, I guess even if I got 1 ticket for the first fight, if it's like a 1.1 victory rate, you know? There's only 5 tickets. I don't know, like, I should have at least had, like, 20 by the end. Considering they said he did fight after fight after fight, and if I was betting on him every single time.
ニトロフューエルを引き換えるとき、バーニスから頼まれた。
そっか。アンドレアス。誰かと電話口で言い争っていたようだ。戻ったら、やつ。
赤いマフラーはいつもスポットライトを浴びてばかりっていう人もいるけど、
あの野郎も まるっきり出任せあいつとは確かに何の接点もないし。俺は郊外に来てからあの
So yeah, it's either one of his compatriots who's also in the underground fighting ring and is just kind of pissed that Lighter's doing so well for himself, despite them not doing well. So I assume it's not even like his buddies. I bet it was just someone who fought him and probably like lost to Lighter in the fighting pit. And now that the fighting pit was dissolved and Lighter's making a name for himself, he's just jealous. He's like, oh man, like that's the guy I was fighting in the fighting pit. We're the same. Why is he doing so much better and I'm not? That'd be my guess. I don't think it's an owner of the fighting pit. I'm pretty sure it's some jealous guy who always lost to him in the fighting pits, and now that it's over, he's now just jealous that the guy who always beat the shit out of him is doing so well.
あれって本当だったんだ。
朝から晩ま
I
で
mean-
皆さんを引っ掛けてるのには
I don't see how it's such a troubled past. Like fighting in an underground fighting pit, like that's not super crazy, right? It's like, you know, sure, like, if you, I mean, obviously, it's a troubled past because like the kind of people who do fight in those pits are usually not like doing it because they have a ton of options, right? Usually, it's like, oh, I need money. I'm relatively strong. I should be able to make money quickly doing these fights. But like, you know. It's not like he led a life of crime. He probably just the worst thing he probably did was just, you know, participating in these shady illegal fights. That's it.
確かに血を見るのもきついが、それだけじゃない。そこそこひどい怪我だった。そんなことしてたせいか。今でもそれに。
てっきりおしゃれでつけ。
気遣いをありがとな。
でもライト。
借金を肩代わりしてくれたおやすさんに。
I bet the scarf is one of his buddies. So it's probably one of his buddies who's in the fighting pit, like one of his actual friends, not this cuck who's getting jealous about him. I bet they wore a scarf, or maybe they talked about a scarf, or talked about like a hero of justice type thing, and it was like, oh, that would be so cool if a hero of justice comes. And so basically, I think the scarf itself is an homage to his friends in the fighting pit.
赤いマフラーって響きが。
Yeah, like pretty cool. I bet it wasn't him. I bet it was one of his friends from the fighting pit thought it was cool. Like who loved those like hero movies or you know, like Power Ranger type things. And I bet one of like the masked justice warriors had a red scarf. And I bet this guy in the fighting pit liked it. And I bet he was Lighter's friend. So once the fighting pit ended, I bet that guy died. So Lighter's like, I'm going to carry on, and I'm going to be that, you know, hero of justice type thing, in your honor type thing. That's my bet. So we'll see. You know, by the end of it, how much of this is right? Is the person who's trying to antagonize him? I'm pretty sure it's. I don't think it's going to be one of the people who arranged the fighting pit. I'm pretty sure it's going to be someone he fought who is not his friend in the fighting pit, who's now jealous that he made so much of himself, despite them both coming from basically the same spot. And I bet the scarf is because of a friend. He has the scarf because of a friend that he made in fighting pits. Oh, why is this here? Oh, I was expecting it. I did the teleport because I was assuming that we were going to go back to our video store, because that's basically how it's been every single time. But no, they for some reason, and it's so weird. They brought him here, right? They brought him here, but he's not near our car. Like that's the silly thing. He wasn't near our car because the car was up on the top floor. Our car was right there. You'd expect he would be hanging out outside the car to be like, "Hey, yeah, I just drove the car here to pick you up," or. But no. The car was up top, and for some reason he was down below. What? Why? Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to start the second parts yet. Actually, let me just double check. There has to be combat for this, right? There's no way these. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay. So it's combat. I assume the last one will have combat too, because obviously it's a fighting thing. It's not going to be like Chingy's one where it's like, oh yeah, just one combat, two things. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. So it's almost been an hour of walking, which is a lot, and there's no way in hell I'll be able to finish the second part that quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. It's a good breaking spot. Anyway, so I will be back on later today. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.